Hi everybody, this is Christianna, and for today's demo day we are talking about crocheting with beads. So let's get started. What I like to do is, first thing, I want to thread my beads onto my working yarn, and I've already done that so you don't have to sit here and watch me thread beads. So my advice for threading your beads is, before you actually thread them onto the yarn, do a dry run with the needle that you're going to use to thread it onto the yarn. The reason I suggest this is because you want to make sure that the bead will fit over the eye of your needle. So I would suggest just quickly doing a dry run before you thread your beads onto your yarn, just to make sure that the bead does in fact fit over the eye of your needle. Because not only are you putting it over the eye of the needle, but you're also having to thread it onto the yarn. So you need to make sure that the bead not only gets over the eye, but can also go through the yarn as well. And I can just show you real quick what I mean. So this is just the tail of my project. So I know that it's good. The bead will fit over the eye of my needle without any yarn in it. So I'm gonna try right now to make sure that it will go over the yarn and the eye of the needle, which it does. So then if you're using a pattern, the designer will typically tell you how many beads you need to thread onto your yarn. I always go a few extra just in case. If this looks like enough, I would say still add about 5 to 10 more beads onto your yarn just to be safe. Because using this particular method, if you don't have enough beads, the only way to add more beads would be to cut your yarn, create a tail, and thread more onto the yarn and reconnect the yarn. So here I've just started a little choker from some yarn left over from a shawl. It's a nice, pretty, sparkly yarn. And I'm putting my beads in using a single crochet. And I'm, just for this particular project, I'm just spacing them 2 stitches apart. So to crochet my bead into my fabric, I want to go ahead and start my single crochet like I normally would. So I'm inserting my hook. And now what I want to do is I want to take the bead closest to my project that's on my working yarn and push it right up against the fabric of my project so that it's literally sitting right on the project. And now I'm going to complete my single crochet as normal, so wrap and pull through, wrap and pull through, and that bead is now locked into place. So I'm going to go ahead and do my 2 stitches that I'm doing to space the beads apart. So there's 1, there's 2, and again this next stitch is where I want to insert a bead, so I'm going to go ahead and insert my crochet hook as normal. I'm going to find the bead closest to my project, push it up the yarn again so it is right snug against the project, and then I'm going to wrap and complete my single crochet as normal. So that is for the single crochet. Now if I wanted to do a double crochet, I'd go ahead and wrap, insert my hook as normal, and again, before you wrap and pull through the stitch, that's when you want to insert the bead. And again, I want to push it up snug against my project, wrap, and complete my stitch as normal. So the row I'm working on right now is the back side of my project. The reason why I'm using the beads while I'm working on the back side is when you wrap the yarn with the bead, it pushes the bead through to the other side of your project. So this is the front and I'm working on the back. So again, there's the beads inserted in a single crochet, and then here it is in a double crochet. So you want to insert the bead no matter which stitch you're using. There we go. You want to insert or put the bead up against your project in that step where before you wrap and pull through the stitch that you've inserted your hook. And this is just a super easy way to add a little sparkle to your project. This is not only great for accessories like jewelry and bracelets, but this is great to use for like the edging of a shawl or the edging of a sweater. And it doesn't necessarily have to be in the pattern. If you want to add beads to your project, go ahead and add beads to your project. But yeah, I especially like using it for jewelry just because it gives it a little extra pop. So thank you so much for joining me today for Demo Days, and I hope that this has inspired you to add a little sparkle to your crochet projects. Thank you.